please try to answer. I'm sorry.
Thank you for the question. If I understood you correctly, you're asking me why I said that New Atheism has an emancipatory function.
Yeah, for minorities. For questions.
For minorities? What do you mean? For which minorities?
Actually, it's not referring to ethnic minorities, but to all kinds of minorities, regarding their gender, their political or any other views.
Okay, I think I haven't made myself clear. I'll try to do my best now. I didn't say that atheism emancipates minorities. My point is that atheists themselves are a minority, and they are emancipating themselves. The new atheism is mainly an American. It spawned on American soil, this movement. And if you know the situation in the United States, there have been many polls and questionnaires put to people around the country in the US. And the moral value, the moral worth, how people see atheists is lower than a rapist. So that's why it's a big problem. If you say in a neighborhood that you are an atheist, you are automatically characterized by your neighbors as a very, very dangerous, immoral, anti-God, and anti-American, non-patriot. There are thousands of cases where people have lost their jobs because he or she stated that he didn't believe in one of the religions. So there are many, many such cases, and I spoke about minorities only to give you an example, a parallel occasion from the history. It's just like those minorities that atheists, as another minority, are trying to make themselves visible because they have been, of course, discriminated against. And that was my point.
Let's move from that side to this side.
Should I introduce myself first?
You should. It's nice to people introduce when they...
My name is Julia Sardelic. You already know me because I'm
I know
a
you.
sociologist as you are. And I have 3 questions for Mr. Gustavsson.
You said 3.
I mean, but they are connected. So
Right.
Interconnected.
Yeah, the first one is, you said you have evidence to prove God. Do you have scientific evidence to prove Jesus Christ's resurrection? Can you give us scientific evidence for this? And if may I quote you? You said that Christianity offers life. Okay, that it offers some basis for morality, right? And why is in this morality, when we go back to stem cell research, potential human life has a greater value than a real human life? And the other question is, how can someone who has a basis for morality be engaged, for example, in genocide, like we heard in the case of Rwandan genocide, when we have convicted Roman Catholic priests and nuns that were engaged in this genocide?
Rwanda.
Rwanda, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I add just a little tiny sub-question? Okay. Do you think that there is something in the Bible that could, that these people that are bad, that are evil, that committed, crimes, found in the Bible, and they say, well, this is what God says me to do and stuff. Do you think that there is something in the Bible that can make people bad? It would sound better in Slovenian, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Let me first point out that I have not talked about. I have not talked about proofs. I talked about arguments, and that I think there are evidences. So I don't say I can prove God's existence or that I can prove the resurrection of Jesus. You can't either prove or disprove. But the question is, are there interesting and convincing arguments for or against God's existence, or for or against a real bodily resurrection of Jesus Christ?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you said that Anthony Flew showed us evidence for.
Sure, evidence.
So where? What evidence? You said that he had evidence. So where is this evidence?
Yeah, I've referred to, if we start with the question of God, I've referred to them several times. One piece of evidence is the Big Bang Theory, which states that the universe came into being. Nothing comes from nothing. It seems to... excuse me.
That's a theory.
Yeah, sure. That is the... and I find it interesting to hear the atheists now questioning the dominant theories within science. First you say, we should really follow science, and when I then point out that this is the majority theory within science, then suddenly we should question the majority theory of science. Here we need some coherence. Either we listen to science or we do not.
Well,
So I have pointed out that the origin of the universe, I think that is a very interesting evidence pointing in the direction of God. I have pointed out the fine-tuning of the universe, and that is what Anthony Flew specifically refers to. And he thinks that is one of the most convincing evidence pointing in this direction. In terms of the resurrection of Jesus, it's of course not natural science you have to deal with, but history and history and historical research. And if you want to investigate into that, you need to study all the relevant historical sources about this event. And I refer to several facts that I think best is explained by God resurrecting Jesus, including the appearances of Jesus for hundreds of people, including, I should have included the empty tomb, which I forget to mention, the fact that Jesus' body was missing. And then the fact of the changed life of the Christians. When it comes to the question on stem cell research, you said, should we really have weigh a potential life contra a real human life? Yeah, then you have here introduced a distinction, namely that the embryo is not a human life, it is a potential human life. Well, I don't buy into that distinction. Biologically, it's human life under progress. It belongs to Homo sapiens. It's our species. Make an analysis of it. It is like you and me. It is not fully developed. Of course not. It is in its very early development. But it's not a potential human being. It's a human being in its first stage. I have been in that stage. If you have never thought of it, you have been in that stage. Nothing has happened except that you have developed. So I think that is a too easy way to discuss that question. And lastly, I am as horrified as you are by the atrocities made sometimes by Christians, like in the genocide in Rwanda. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible. There is, of course, no kind of excuse of any sort. And it's obvious for everyone reading the New Testament that when those people claiming to be Christians did these things, they were contradicting their own faith. Because the Master himself, Jesus, he said you should love your enemy, not destroy them. So, of course, Christians have contradicted their own faith many times. It's tragic. I'm so saddened by it. But it's not an expression of Christianity to do that. It's to contradict the heart of the Christian faith, which is that God loves us and that we are called to love each other. Are there things in the Bible? No, I would say no, absolutely not. Of course you can find a verse and put it out of its context and quote it, and you will find a lot of people doing that. But read the New Testament in its entirety, and you will find nothing whatsoever from our text to support this attitude. On the contrary, be meek and humble, love your enemy. That is the Christian attitude. And I'm so sorry we not always live up to the high standard of our own faith. The glorious thing, I think,